Okay, this one's come across the screen twice. We gotta sit back and watch this.
What's wrong?
I'll give this 3 minutes.
This is the Koramangala district in Bangalore, and this is essentially where the tech boom started.
If you know anything about the startup world, you've read anything in the past, 3 decades, then you must have heard of this place. Bangalore.
Yeah, I've heard of Bangalore. I play her in Apex. That's like my character in Apex. Oh, shit. The place? Shit.
And this is the only time I'm going to call
Nah, never heard of it.
it that. This is a name that's inherited from the British occupation in India. But the real name for Indians for this city is Bengaluru. And
Bangalore?
this place is India's startup haven. It has a reputation that few other places
Good
in
night.
the world can even come close to matching. And for years, I've been puzzled by Bengaluru. Now I'm finally here.
I can totally see why you would host your office here, man. Like, this is pretty. It gives me like Costa Rica beach town vibes, believe it
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's dope. Tech Valley about like the beach?
or not.
It's a city of contrasts. It's a city where a promising future meets this challenging present. Just take a look around. You'll see a city that has seen tremendous growth. People come here from all over India for a better future. Of the 13 million people who live here, half of them are immigrants. And traffic is just one of the many challenges that Bengaluru has as a metropolis that it is. But the city
Yo, is it just because the people that the area grew faster than the infrastructure could fix it?
has still flourished.
I wouldn't have survived if we had done this like the first day, because like now I understand some of the rules of the road or the non-rules of the road.
I had to
but I'm
ban
not
that
sure I wanna
word.
do it again.
Thousands of startups have appeared in recent years, all with the goal to change technology here and at the global scale. So with all of the changes that Bengaluru faces, that still doesn't slow them down. And being here taught me that this is much more than just startups.
Good
In fact,
night.
Bengaluru is essential for India. It's essential for its people. And here's why. This is Sleeping Planet, Bengaluru.
India's technology story goes back at least 5 or 6 decades.
I don't think anybody expected what really happened in the last 7-8 years. It's been a tremendous journey.
When Infosys began in 1981, it was in a socialistic era when India was not really that friendly towards business.
And this is essentially where everything in Bangalore started, everything tech started. The first tech company started moving here in the 90s, and it sort of exploded from here. A lot of people from all over India started moving here, large brands started coming out here, and this was essentially the first big startup hub in the city.
I wonder why though. Why there out of all the places in the world?
Koramangala is in the southeast of Bengaluru. It's one of the largest neighborhoods and a hotspot for commerce and for residences. It has seen tremendous growth since the 90s, especially thanks to the tech boom. Koramangala and Bengaluru weren't always like this. In fact, this bustling city was once this quiet retirement city during the British colony. Back then, less than 1 million people lived here. Pensioners and farmers shared this place thanks to the great weather, the lakes, and the lush green fields. And it wasn't until after India's independence in 1947 that Bengaluru began its ascent to this worldwide tech hub recognition. As a fresh, new, and young independent nation, India needed to develop its military and its air force. And then the Indian government made this huge investment in Bengaluru to help achieve this goal. And so the military usually brings money to cities. And with the military came companies like Hindustan Aviation Limited and others. And they
That's
needed
fair.
people to work. So very similar to what happened in Silicon Valley in the 50s with the military, Bengaluru exploded a little bit later in the 70s and the 80s. And people got stable jobs in engineering and manufacturing and research. And the Bengaluru that we know today
Yeah, you go in there and then the next generation can really take advantage of all the opportunities that are laid out.
largely transformed into this thing in the 90s. India took all these drastic measures to shift its economic identity towards markets and services. And then 2 companies were critical to this growth.
These are the 2 companies that kind of started it all in Bangalore. The whole IT services boom happened with these companies.
Infosys is such a key part of India's history. It's one of the most important IT companies. It migrated to Bengaluru in 83, and by 93 it went public, and it created hundreds of jobs in this city.
In 1981, with initial capital of $250, 7 engineers set
Wow.
up the business, marking the beginning of the private tech industry in India.
And then Wipro, on the other hand, was this veteran in Bengaluru. It exists since 45, but the company used to do like vegetable oils. But they saw the future, and then they migrated into this IT company
What?
in the 70s.
That's
and
crazy.
80s. And then by 82, they were fully focused on computers. And by 2004, it was the second Indian company to earn $1 billion in revenue. And these companies,
Damn.
they set the standard. They set a new standard in Bengaluru and had a direct impact in regions like Koramangala. Because of course, people wanted these jobs. So masses flocked to Bengaluru in search for better and for more opportunities. So the city saw this growth like few other cities in India or in the...
And the infrastructure just didn't have enough time to adjust to this amount of people coming in.
World, really.
Becoming a computer engineer and getting a job with Infosys or Wipro was the thing, right?
In the late 1990s and 2000s, Bangalore became a valid destination to chase a career in technology on its own.
People wanted to be here. It's really just 5 miles or 8 kilometers from Electronic City, which is another key part of Bengaluru. But Infosys and Wipro's impact went beyond migration. These companies were vital in jump-starting the startup scene in Bengaluru in a way very similar to how the earliest Silicon Valley companies helped shape it for the future. Take Infosys, for example. They had a culture of entrepreneurship instilled in its essence from the start. The founders wanted to create this environment where people worked and also learned about business. This knowledge inevitably led to employees leaving and then creating their own companies. Take Shrad Hedge, for example. He joined
Deep. By the way, Infosys paid like $40 million in immigration scam to the U.S. What does that mean? Can you give me a little context?
Infosys in 83, worked there until 2002, and learned so much that he quit the company to provide mentorship to other startups. Then he founded his own company, Phone Paisa, which earns millions of dollars annually. And that's, of course, not the only example. 2 more former employees left the company to create Inju's Web Solutions in 2006, a social platform that helps businesses mine data. Examples like these are almost endless. After all, Infosys was the first job of many of these people, and what they learned there helped them create their new ventures. One vital element of this growth is that Infosys gave employees stock options, which gave them stability, it gave them wealth, and the confidence to try new things.
If you can get in at a relatively early stage where the company is not going to be able to pay you as much as a Google or a Swiggy, but still has deep enough pockets that you get by with a good amount of salary, maybe like your UX guy, right? Like at $3,000 or $5,000 a month.
Wipro is no different. Their first CEO went on to create a massive media company. Another 2 former Wiproers founded another internet company back in the early 2000s, and then there's Mind.
The unfair use of the H-1B1 visa? Oh, that's very relevant to today's day and age. So how were they penalized for the unfair use of the H-1B visa?
This massive tech company was created by 6 former Wipro employees. Now it has 36,000 employees, making $1.3 billion in revenue annually. Hundreds of startups emerged from these 2 companies and grew to almost limitless potential. And so Bengaluru and India have not only benefited from the companies that were born here, Bengaluru has also become so powerful that it has even drawn the attention of global giants.
This is a very exciting area. You have a lot of bars, you have a lot of restaurants and stuff going on. Like I can see why a company would want to have their office here. The meetup that we did was actually around this area.
People said, oh, Amazon's going to be the Amazon of India. It's not Flipkart anymore. But they've kind of like weathered that assault, grew alongside, competed with Amazon, and sold out to Walmart.
So Walmart bought it?
Right? And the senior folks, not just the founders, the whole senior team, the core team, made a killing, right? Massive, massive killing.
This brings us back to the migration and why people move here. One reason is its closeness to Electronic City. And in many ways, Electronic City is like the nervous system of India. It's 800 acres packed to the brim of IT companies, over 200. And this area, Electronic City, goes back to 78. And back then, Arki Baliga, an engineer and professor, he wanted to create this hub, this place that would rival Silicon Valley. He started creating what would become the leading outsourcing IT hub in the world. So you can see how all these factors kind of pile up one on top of the other to create essentially a nucleus, like a core of talent that eventually drives growth. And they're reaping the benefits today. Electronic City lies on the
Flipkart is India's Amazon owned 18% of the stock under Walmart's $40 billion.
to a
Oh,
road. That's a vital
interesting.
highway for Bengaluru. So because it was there and with Koramangala so close, this road also became essential to the city.
HSR is one of the main new startup hubs around the city. It sits between Koramangala, which is the main hub up to the north, and Electronic City in the south, which is an older IT hub that's been around for a while. And getting around Bangalore is not particularly easy. Traffic is a bit of a mess, so this
Tata is hands down India's biggest company. Yes, and that was Rata, the Mr. He just recently passed the India's biggest businessman, right?
HSR location is actually quite ideal. So a lot of companies are choosing to move here now.
But all of this growth,
Ratan, yeah.
as always, comes at a cost. So many people have moved to Bengaluru that the city obviously has struggled to just keep up with this demand, like any city would. And traffic is one of the most obvious places where you can see that reflected. Some suggest that it's
The most respected, the most respected businessman in India, and seemingly he just was a good freaking human being. I mean, yeah, he donated more than 100 billion exactly. He's seemingly done a lot of good philanthropy, set up businesses, gave people jobs and careers that way they can protect their families and give more back to their families. I mean, he seemed like a hell of a human being. Actually, in fact, when we stream back tonight, when I go live again, I want to react to some of his stuff because he was super cool to listen to, and I want to learn more about him.
one of the worst city traffics in the world.
Let's try and rent one of these scooters. See if we can get the Yugo app. It's cool. They have scooters here. We'll try it out. Let's ride faster. Do we all want coffee? Oh, this is great.
What's wrong? How do you feel?
The coffee.
The demand for residential housing.
The coffee killed him.
Increased
55% from 2018 to 2022.
There is a significant absorption that happens in that market as well.
From 2010 to
Beautiful.
2020, rent has gone up about 50%. A one-bedroom apartment inside of Bengaluru has grown from around 9,500 in 2010 to around 17,000 rupees in 2021. Some salaries are so high that they are compared with San Francisco salaries. That income is, of course, reserved for tech employees. By the
Well,
way, this
coin
is
always
Ola's
has two different
founder,
sides.
Bhavesh
Absolutely.
Agarwal. Ola started in 2011, and it's India's biggest ride-sharing platform with around 60% of the market. Despite all the challenges, despite the chaos, the improvised infrastructure,
OLA, that's the company that is coming out with the Diamond Head and all those other futuristic EVs. We reacted some videos of this not too long ago, or some about the EVs there.
Bengaluru is unstoppable. Get this, if you want to study
That's cool.
computer science here, there are around 100
Full
institutions
circle.
that offer that degree. Bengaluru produces thousands of new engineers every year. This city lives and breathes technology, and you can see it from 2015 to 2021. Bengaluru outperformed San Francisco in startup creation.
Well, yeah, it's because San Francisco is turning into a giant shithole.
In 2 years alone, from 19 to 21, the city saw the birth of around 5,000 new startups, and that's not an easy feat. People want to be here from the rest of India or from the rest of the world. There's everything that you need to be in one of the most exciting startup hubs on the planet. On a global scale, Bengaluru is outgrowing any other tech hub. Over $18.6 billion in investments last year. That's more than Beijing, that's more than Shanghai. And all of that money is going to these startups. Anyone here walking next to you is probably related to startups. Bengaluru is a haven for startups, and as far as IT goes, it's an essential piece of India. In the country, there are around 5 million people who work in IT and the BPM sectors. In Bengaluru alone, companies employ 1.5 million people. That's
BPM, is that the brain plastic manufacturing or something like that? Not brain plastic, but like, you know what I mean?
30% of India's IT workforce just concentrated on this city. And that's not all. Bengaluru accounts for
I'm thinking BMI, brain, or like BCI, brain chip interface.
40% of India's total IT exports.
Bangalore was like the Silicon Valley.
Part of the reason has been Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley of India.
Bangalore is called the Silicon Valley of India.
So yes, of course, it's not unusual for the media to pounce on the idea that this city, Bengaluru, might just be the next Silicon Valley. And of course, it makes sense to draw that comparison. To answer the question, you have to look at where they're similar and where they're different. What does Silicon Valley mean? First of all, Silicon Valley is about history. It is the birthplace of technology. It's a birthplace that has changed the entire world from everything that we do. So yes, Silicon Valley has an unprecedented, uncomparable lead. But Bengaluru is catching up. It's catching up at a blistering pace. From that one company that revolutionizes technology at a global scale, others will come. Others can come. But this is the other side of the world. The ecosystem in Bengaluru certainly has the potential to transform India, soon the most populous country in the world.
There's a company called Flipkart, which is basically the Amazon of India.
Hey, that's what you guys said earlier. Look at you, chat. You guys are so smart.
First startup which kind of made it to the big league, and so much so that Amazon realized that, hey, like, this is an opportunity and we gotta enter India. I think that's one company that kind of redefined. Like, if Infosys started the whole services, IT services whole thing, you know, the renaissance, whatever, the revolution, the startup revolution for me was with Flipkart.
A city like Bengaluru can transform a country like India. Can then India lead the transformation of their region? Can they lead the transformation of cities and societies that startups in developed countries usually overlook? Judging by what I saw, most of the elements are already here. And I am really excited about what's to come.
Yeah, no, I am too. And honestly, this is what I keep saying. With all this innovation, with the young, like, India's population, is just the average age is so young that growing up in this technological boom that we're in, you guys are going to be able to take advantage of it and build out the infrastructure to these rural areas and provide more support and education, in a sense that I think in the next 10 to 15 years, India could legitimately be like one of the number one of the top superpowers in the world. I think it'll probably be Russia, United States, and India in no particular order. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, then please like the video, subscribe, and if you really like it, then share it with some of your friends. My goal here is to spread a positive message while sprinkling my 2 cents on big topics like American, Indian, and world geopolitics, and even small stuff like Twitch drama and online debacles. And if you want to see it live, come join me over on Twitch. Twitch.tv/ActuallyElrod. That's where I'm going to do all my reactions, and after the reactions, that's where we get down a game. And if you're like, hey, I have a video that I want this dude to sprinkle his 2 cents on, then come over on my Discord and let me know and join the community there. And while we're at it, I have to say thank you to everybody who has made that Discord just so poppin'. I never thought I'd have a Discord that's so flowing. It's really cool to see. Shout out to you, Bobby, Omni, Demon, all of you who have been in there who are just super active. Logie, you're the man. Logie is the one who's like modding and helping run the server, so thank you, Logie. Lastly, I challenge you. I have a challenge for you. Make somebody laugh today. We all know there's enough hate and vitriol in the world. If energy is contagious like the flu, then let's spread and get everyone contagious with our positive energy, right? Not negative energy, because there's so much of that. And if we could just be a small little change in someone's day, then you never know. Maybe that's the thing that starts shifting this world to a happier, healthier, just better place. And with all of that said and done, thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.